Hey, what's going on, guys? So I wanted to do a quick video on simming since a lot of people have come to me with questions, and just a quick guide for those of you that don't probably do it as much as you should. Simming's a super easy way to gear out your character and min-max it to figure out what's best for you. Of course, with all the Titan forging and everything, it's not as clear cut now that it's what gear we should be wearing versus what's probably what seems the best for us. So first I recommend getting 3 add-ons, the first one being Pawn. Pawn is probably the most simple of these add-ons. Essentially how it works is Pawn all works off of scales. Scales tell you what stats are good for you. This is my scale right here for Fury. So it's got all these different stats in here and tells me how much each point of each stat is going to give me in terms of damage. But a really simple add-on, and I'll show you how to get your scales later on in this video. The second one is SimCraft. Just get the SimCraft add-on. It's super easy. /SimC. It'll give you all your current gear in a nice, fancy SimCraft format. Just import that into SimCraft, and off you go. And the last one is called SimPermute. Now, this one is my favorite add-on. I love this thing. Just because how much I sim, it makes it so easy. It will give you all of your currently equipped gear and all the gear you can equip in those slots. And best way to describe this is just to, if I wanted to sim out my legs, for example, I would check these and I'd generate it. Okay, now it's going to give me a whole SimCraft string. So I'll copy all this and move it over into SimCraft. So I should have it simmed out right here. Yeah. And this is all custom APL stuff down here. I'll come back to that in a bit. Right here, it shows this is all my base gear, and then all the different copies. It's running with a different 1, 2, 3 different types of legs. And you have an option in SimPermute to keep gems and enchants constant throughout the gear. I typically don't do that because not every piece can be enchanted or has a socket on it. But you run your sim on it, and then it'll give you this. So it looks like copy through is the best. So I'll scroll down here, and it should just show me what gear I should be wearing. So out of those 3 legs, it looks like these were the best. These were superior, the storm battered leg plates. Going into the SimCraft options, you have a ton of customizability here, and you should really delve into this to make your sims as accurate as possible for you. It's not realistic to be simming at an elite level with 0 MS, 0 world lag. You're not a robot. Make it accurate for you. I use the good, and for iterations, I typically go to 5,000 when I'm using SimPermute. I want to make it a quick sim, but I also want it to be accurate. And running 15,000 iterations over sometimes 80 copies of a sim can take 45 minutes, takes forever. And I typically drop it to 300 seconds. But when I'm just doing like a single target, a single set of gear, 15,000 iterations at 350 seconds is pretty good. For different fights, just think about how the fights work for this stuff. Like, for example, Botanist would probably be helter-skelter, while something like Scorpion would be a hectic cleave. Also, you can go up here for Botanist. You could send out 2 to 3 enemies. It's worth, I guess, would be kind of averaging how many enemies you have during the fight. But typically, I just do one for Patchwork, raid boss, target level. Over here, your process priority. Just make sure how fast SimCraft runs. Doesn't really matter there. World lag. It's all about, just make it accurate to you. It's gonna be make it for the most accurate sim. If you're in Australia, use the Australia one, Hopper. That's gonna be best for you. I go back to Pawn and getting your stat weights. If you go over here into scaling and enable scaling, toggle all the relevant character stats for you. So being a warrior, I've got strength and the 4 main stats. You don't need to put on attack power or spell power. Doesn't really matter that much. I know at least for warriors, our strength is equal to our attack power. It's just a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's not really relevant to put both on. Scaling will make it take a lot longer, make your sim take a lot longer, because now it has to account for all these different stats instead of just how much damage you're doing on average throughout the iterations. So if you're simming a lot of gear, make sure you turn off scaling. It's really going to reduce the amount of time it takes. You can also put on plots. That'll just give you a graph of how important your stats are. I don't really mess with it though. But when you scale it and you go into your results, I don't have it turned on in these, but right up at the top, right below your results, it's going to give you the stat weights, it's going to have a spot for a pawn string. Just copy and paste that into pawn, and then it'll be able to tell you right there, import, throw the new scale in, and it's going to tell you how good your certain stats are for you, what you should shoot for. Make sure you research your class. I know warriors are a bit weird right now with like our haste breakpoint, for example. It's going to value one stat a lot higher than maybe it should, so just research your class. And then finally, I was going to talk about custom APLs. Every class has an APL, an action priority list, built into SimCraft. However, sometimes, like where we are now, the new Sims haven't really come out yet, and 7.1.5 has been out for a little while. So some people have gone and made their own APLs, which are a little more accurate to where we are at without the new Sims. So just look around for your class's APL and throw it in. Typically it'll work like this. APL will just go at the bottom, and then you throw your actual sim data on the top. But that's all I had to say about that. If any of you have any more questions, just be sure to let me know. This was just a pretty basic guide, I know, but I'm always happy to help. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.